Okay, we are now set and we are ready to start our session. Morning, everyone. Let us start by having someone give us an opening prayer for this session. Teacher Joel, can you give us an opening prayer?
I've been given this opportunity to lead you in the opening prayer. I request you humble yourselves and we pray. Heavenly loving Father, we thank you for the gift of life you have given us. And we are so grateful that today we are meeting once again as we come to the end of the training session. We invite the Holy Spirit to come and lead us in everything that we are going to discuss. And Lord, we pray that the knowledge that we have been acquired in the training, let it stick in our minds and we use it profitably to help other friends there, the learners to learn, and setting up the system according to the situation we are living in today. We are so grateful together with ICT teachers because they have come up together to help us to acquire that will take us forward in this situation. We ask all this Christ.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Teacher Joel, and I want to thank all the members and the teachers who are on call. Yeah, so today we are wrapping up a 1 week training which we have been having since Monday with Cohort 2, the Edify e-learning program. We had the first lot, and at the beginning of we had the first lot at the beginning of August, and then the second lot we are concluding today. And this morning we are going to be discussing putting the puzzle together, all the things that we have been learning. How do you do everything? How do you put together everything? How do you have a comprehensive e-learning program? How do you run one as a school? Yeah, so we are going to be looking at all that in this session. Yeah, so we have a number of teachers who have joined us today, who are going to be sharing with us some of the tips and strategies. Yeah, so we are going to be looking at some of the tips and strategies that we can use when we are dealing with e-learning, an e-learning program. Yeah, so I want to thank all the teachers who have been attending this session and having doing the various things we have been telling them, the creating of slides, creating videos, using Google Drive, Google Docs, using Zoom, Google Meet, YouTube, School Blog, Google Classroom, WhatsApp, Colibri. So we want to put together everything. And also, it is not just about the technologies, but also how do you manage administratively to make sure that the lessons are conducted well. Yeah, so that is why we are here in this particular session. Now, I'm going to, at this time, I'm going to ask, I think we are going to start with a presentation from Mr. Angela this time. Then after that, we shall come back and we do the discussions and wind up and also get sharing. Mr. Angela, are you ready at this stage to share? And we have the presentation first, and then we we shall wind up at the end with the other.
Yes, sir.
So, Ms. Angela, you're welcome. You can introduce yourself and then share with us.
Good morning to everyone who is attending this workshop today. I would like to welcome you for today's presentation. I would like to thank you for having spared your time and little resources in this 1 week, learning different tools and technologies, as well as different ways of how you can conduct online classes at your school. I'd like to thank the facilitators, Henry, Rogers, Moses, Godfrey, Steve, for taking you through the training for the 1 week. As already mentioned by Rogers, we are preparing for our e-classes, and first and foremost, I would like to thank Edify Uganda for supporting the program, the Catholic School, the Christian School Owners Association for the role of mobilizing members, the ICT Teachers Association of Uganda for training us. Indeed, it has been a wonderful 1 week training where we learned how to create learning tools that we need to use. So let us look at the strategies and solutions and the challenges we are bound to face as we are in this program. So we have been going through the learning tools. You will excuse me, I will not go through all the slides. You will receive this presentation at the end of this workshop. We are saying we have learning tools, and these learning tools are there to enable us our learning during this COVID-19 pandemic. And we in the education department have been affected. Therefore, we need to start on our online classes. Why are we online? Why are we going online? We already know COVID came in and we have to distance ourselves. There's social distancing. That is one of the most important things. Learners are at home, so we have to get to the learners, and learning should continue. So learners will stay home, they will acquire their knowledge, they will social distance, they will have their different learning environments, which will be effective. They will access our materials 24 hours, 7 days a week, at home, at their own pace. We are going to create, or you need to create flexible schedules that they will have to follow. They will find it anywhere where they are. Is there an internet connection? Do they have the devices? Many of the learners are having mobile devices as opposed to the computers and the tablets. So all of those factors help us to get into the online learning. Now, I would like to also say that before we get into planning for our schools, our online learning, we can carry out some benchmarking from the various programs that have been organized by very many schools. I've put down a list of a number of schools, a number of programs, a number of organizations that have embraced this e-learning. And first and foremost, you can pick a leaf from the Edify e-classes pilot program, We have just completed phase 1, and on Monday we shall be starting phase 2, which is going to run for approximately around 2 months, while we are still engaging these learners, as we are also observing how government is opening up schools in a phased manner. So I have listed down a number of services. You can Google these organizations, these schools, and then see how they have recorded. Some of them have recorded videos on YouTube, put them on their YouTube channels. You can as well get contacts from them. They can help. So that was benchmarking. Now, how do we plan? How do we implement our classes at school level? One, we have to find out, is our target audience. Sincerely, our target audience are our learners. And then we also need to include the parents, because they will have to support the learners. But in doing so, we have to find out the audience that we are targeting. What is their technical capability? Do they know how to use these devices, or do they not know how to use the devices? What knowledge do they have about the e-learning or online learning? And how are they going to use the knowledge we are going to give them? So we have to study these scenarios, because it has been proven that we all don't use our devices for the same purpose. So we have to prepare our audience, that is the parents and the learners, in this journey of online learning. So as a school, as an institution, we have to think of the various stakeholders and what their roles will be. For example, the school owners, what is your role? Of course, you have to communicate to the parents and the learners to enroll for the online lessons. How are you going to do that? We have WhatsApp groups. We can create WhatsApp groups. We can send bulk SMSs to contact the parents. We can create posters. We can do radio adverts. We can even move door to door, if that is okay as of today, as opposed to social distancing. We know we have to social distance. So all those are methods of how we can communicate with the parents. And then we also have to also communicate to the teachers who are going to take part in this program. So we need to identify the teachers who want to involve in the program. We need to support the teachers to participate in this program. The other set of stakeholders we have are the parents. We need the parents to enroll the learners into the program. If we don't contact the parents, we shall not get the learners into the program. It is the same parents who are going to provide the data as well as the gadgets that our learners are going to use. So they are very instrumental. And then, of course, the parents will support our program if they happen to pay for a services that we are asking them to obtain. And as schools, we need to, if possible, to charge a small fee that can be really affordable by the parents. I have my children who are attending classes, and I take their fees affordable, in the range of 10,000 to 20,000 there. So you also decide what fee you want to charge the parents as they are enrolling their learners. The teachers are also another area that we have to look at. We need to prepare our teachers for this online learning. How? We have to train the teachers in the technologies that we want them to use. The variety of technologies. You've gone through some of the technologies, so the teachers have to be prepared. to carry out the lessons well, they have to prepare the schemes of work of what they are going to teach in a specific period of time that you want to teach. Of course, we have to look at where did we end in the previous terms and where do we start from, at what level are these learners. We have to prepare the lessons through PowerPoint presentations, looking for lesson videos, looking for images, and any other form of material that we need to prepare for, so that we deliver this content at the best of our knowledge. So we need to deliver the lessons, need to deliver whatever we prepare to the learners, and then we also need to assess our learners to find out how much they have picked from these lessons that we are conducting. The other day, I was attending a launch of an online program of one of the schools in the East, and one of the learners typed in the chat when the deputy mentioned that they will be assessed. And they were asking themselves, how are you going to assess us? We are at home. What method of assessment are you going to use? So all those issues we need to think about as we are preparing for this activity. The learners have to attend the lessons as per the timetable. We have to invite them through the WhatsApp groups to come and attend the lessons, put a timetable for them, deliver the lessons, give them the exercises and assignments that they need to use, they need to attempt, and then, if possible, you can also create self-study material using the tools and technologies that you've learned for purposes of self-study and for purposes of revision. Now, all these resources that I've listed down, you've gone through. I don't want to go through them again. The resources that you need to carry out this program very well. You need the laptops, you need the desktops, the smartphones. Some teachers might use smartphones to deliver their content. You need the connectivity, where you're seeing this mast. You need the Zoom licenses, the Zoom application on your computer, and all these others, YouTube channel for your presentations, for relaying your presentations live to the learners, as well as storing videos that they can replay after a lesson has taken place in case they missed. PowerPoint, PDF, WPS, Office presentations you can use to generate your content. You can record yourself as you are delivering a lesson. Do you want to give these learners tutorials? Do you want to give them YouTube videos to watch? The variety of resources, and you've gone through the variety of resources as you are carrying out your learning. Now, we need to technology that we need to apply in our with the kids. Yes, oh, can we mute that person, please? Yes, we are in a school. The learners are at home. How many learners are we targeting? How many people will access our classes at a time? What is the average number of learners we're expecting? What is the minimum? What is the maximum? We have to put that into consideration as we are preparing ourselves. The hardware that we have, is it ready? Is it able to stream our lessons properly? So we have the computers, we have the servers, we have the monitors, etc. So is your hardware able to conduct the lessons? Where will the learners access the content from? Of course, as of now, they are at home, but in case the lockdown is lifted and the schools are opened, are you looking at only doing it because we are in lockdown, or do you think you will be able to do it even after the lockdown and the schools are open, we are in holidays? Can you organize such learning sessions for learning to continue, for revision to continue? So, as we are thinking of the technology we are using, think of how it will be accessed through a variety of ways. Do we have the software that we need? Do we have the Zoom? That is one. Do we have the PowerPoint for preparing our content? Do we have the WPS Office? Do we have the YouTube? So do we have access to all these softwares that we need? And in actual sense, install them into our computers so that we can deliver our content well. Does your school have enough internet bandwidth to run the online classes? Do we have the bundles to run the classes? Who is going to give the bundles? Is it the teacher who is going to load the bundles onto his phone, onto her phone, or is it the school? Or it is a two-way or it is a 50-50 share process? How do you expect to back up your information? How do you expect to store your already created information that is backing up your information in this program so that it can be accessed later on? And then the security. How do you think you will secure your system from intruders? For example, if you're charging a fee, how will other people access? Will you accept everyone to access without paying? Or do you want to put checks and balances to find out those who have paid and those who have not paid? But even the security of your own information, the security of your own devices. Okay. So, how are you going to maintain your devices? I'm only putting how are you going to maintain your server, but let us look at how are you going to maintain all the devices you're going to use in as far as running this program is concerned. What kind of support system are you supposed to offer to the end users? How are you planning to help these learners after the lessons? For example, are we going to meet in the WhatsApp groups? Are we going to meet in the Google Classrooms? Are we going to meet using Padlets? So what technology have you put in place to support learning after the physical online lesson has taken place? We need to stay in touch virtually as learning is taking place. Now, some of the items that we need, I'm going to stress some of them. For example, the Zoom licenses. How many licenses do you need for a school? What is the cost of a license? Who will administer the licenses? And what challenges do you anticipate when you get these licenses? So, first of all, as a school, how many classes do you have? So, how many licenses will you plan for? Depending on the classes. What is your timetable? You look at the number of classes that you're going to hold. Then that one can give you a glimpse of how many licenses you need. Then the other thing that comes in is the cost. But on the right-hand side of this slide, you can see there's an organization that is offering schools licenses on a monthly basis at a minimal cost. You can approach those people, and I hope Roger has shared with you the contacts of those people. If not, he can share the contacts with you, or you can also contact himself, and he helps you in acquiring those licenses. Who will administer the licenses? Who will start these Zoom sessions for the classes to take place? Do you need one person to control all the licenses you've purchased? For example, if there are 5, do you need one person to control all the 5 licenses, or you need 5 people to control the 5 licenses? And then, as you go ahead, what challenges do you anticipate? For example, you can start with a license of 100 people. Then later on, it becomes very difficult for you to have only 100 people in a class. So you need to think of expanding, increasing on your license capacity as time goes on. So those are some of the challenges. Then 2, we need to timetable, create a timetable. An example is what you're seeing there. Each school can create its own timetable, give it to the learners, and then plan how to go through the learning process as they are following that timetable. Some of the budgetary aspects that we have to look at and you need to consider carefully. One, the Zoom licenses that I've talked about. You need to think of, do I give my teachers weekly or monthly data for learning to take place because they need the data to be online? Do I need monthly data and airtime for the administrators and the technical team? Of course, you must have a technical team. Those are what I could refer to as the administrators that are supposed to run these licenses. Now, if they want to communicate with the members, if they want to start Zoom meetings, they must have some data to run the program. The teachers, how are you going to facilitate the teachers? Is it per lesson delivered? Is it per month? So you will have to decide with your teachers. The technical team, how are they going to conduct the teacher trainings? How are they going to offer the support? How are they going to run the Zoom sessions? How are they going to control the classes? Who is going to do what? All that is supposed to be taken care of under your budgetary aspects. Of course, there are other miscellaneous expenses like the bulk SMSs, for reminders, if there is a need to print work. There are many other costs that you will get into as you are planning your program. Then also you need to think of, how am I going to sustain this program? How am I going to request to the parents to sustain, to run this program? You can ask for donations, you can fundraise, you can charge a small fee so that the parents continue supporting your program. In terms of Zoom licenses and in terms of data costs, there is an organization called Research Education Network Uganda. These people support EdTech programs and sometimes they offer free Zoom licenses, or in some instances, they zero rate your learning platform. When I talk about zero rate in your learning platform, that means you don't need data bundles to access the learning platform that you will have shared with your learners. For example, if it is a website and that is where you want the learners to pick information from, this company can enable you to access these services at no cost for your school and for your students. Presently, they are zero rating. They have an agreement with MTN because MTN is one of the companies that offer to zero rate learning institutions so that they don't charge them in case they want to access on their websites. Then you can also introduce exams administered at a cost. The parents pay for the exams, you get the money, and then the program can be sustained. As well, you can create DVDs of these programs, sell to the parents. You can create printouts of workbooks, sell to the parents. We need to find very many different ways of how we can sustain our program. So in short, these are the steps that you need to take into consideration, put in place the technology, formulate the team that will run the program, sensitize the teachers on the need for the lessons, conduct the training for the teachers so that they can carry out the training, create a timetable, share the timetable with the parents and learners, let the teachers create the schemes of work, let the teachers develop the content to be developed, communicate to the parents through as many sources as possible. You have their contacts in your databases, in your files. Find ways of meeting them before you kick off the program through a meeting, a Zoom meeting that can accommodate all the parents and all the learners once invited. Enroll them into the different learning groups that you're going to use. We have WhatsApp, we have Telegram, we have Padlets that you mentioned earlier on, plus whatever has been taught to you in practice. Launch the lessons on a day that the learners and parents know. Let there be supervisors to monitor the lessons on a daily basis. For example, if you have your DOS or your DOSes, you can ask them to monitor the lessons, monitor what the admins are doing, monitor what the teachers are doing. If there are any challenges that come, please sit down either daily or on a weekly basis, address the challenges. We failed to share a screen. How do we share a screen? There was too much noise in the class. How do we mute and unmute, control the learners? Encourage the teachers to create more content for the learners in case the learners are offline, so that the learners can learn at their own time. And then you are introduced to Google Classroom. Try to assess the learners through the Google Classroom. Set up the Google Classrooms. Add the learners there. Put in the lesson notes. Put in the assignments. And then you are good to go. So some of the challenges we expect to face, I'm not going to highlight very many of them. Data depletion. We need to have enough data to run both the Zoom sessions and stream on YouTube. Majority of the times, our computers have updates that are kept hidden. So when you put very many data bundles, these updates can consume your data bundles. So in some instances, disable some Windows updates so that the data that you put on is set for the activity of learning. Some teachers have to be taught. Indeed, they will have challenges with these learning tools, the laptops, the PowerPoint, the Zoom. But let us meet on a day-to-day basis. Let us meet as admins and teachers one-on-one, and we guide each other in the best way possible how we can conduct these lessons. Are you starting with all the subjects, or are you looking at the core subjects? So you need to find out, can I manage all the subjects? Can I manage to bring all the teachers on board? Or I just only need to think of a few subjects here and there. Then, during the lessons, what are the students doing? Are they attentively listening to the teacher, or they are busy chatting? We've noticed learners hi, sending emojis, sending links to other WhatsApp groups. Please join my WhatsApp group. Some people sending links to videos, to video sites. So how are we going to avoid all that in our program? So these are just a few challenges that I listed, but you might find there are many more other challenges that you might face in this activity. So as I wind up, I would like to thank all the stakeholders who have helped us conduct this cohort 2 training. I'll start with Edify Uganda for financing this program, and all the Edify staff for their support, continuous input, and continuous engagement since we rolled out this program. The Christian School Owners Association, the leaders, the coordinators, and all the people under that association, because they have sensitized the school owners, they have brought the teachers on board, they have brought the learners on board so that they can join the classes. Once again, the facilitators of this cohort 2, Rogers, Henry, George, Isaac, Moses, Steve, and any other facilitator who has taken part in this for your time in planning, creating the content, and then further delivering the online classes for the learners, and then giving them assignments and marking the assignments. And finally, the teachers who have participated in this program for the 1 week. We started with the 2 weeks, but now it was cut down to 1 week. But at least thank you for sacrificing your time, your money to purchase the bundles, and physically being in the sessions for this training. Thank you for listening to me. Back to you, Rogers.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm actually here clapping for you for that wonderful presentation, Mr. Njala. Yeah, members, Mr. Njala there is, is the one who is actually administering our e-learning program for the Edify class program. He's very resource. So in case you need a lot of other support, maybe the presentation here had a lot of questions and you have more answers, then you should be able to get in touch and we see how we can be able to support. Now, this time, I'm going to request we have some teachers on call who have been participating in this e-learning program. They're going to be sharing with us some tips. Yeah, but before they come in, I want to get questions from some 1, 2, 3. You bring in some questions, then these teachers will be able to answer some of those questions as they share tips. Yeah, so from the members here, if you have any question or any concern about e-learning and easy classes, or you have something that is really on your mind, you are trying to contemplate on how you can do this either as a teacher or as a school, you have some questions. Let us have a few, 1, 2, 3, then we hear from the teachers who will be sharing those tips. Mr. Enoch, you have a hand? Mr. Enoch? Yeah, members, you one at a time. Enoch, then Jane. Enoch?
Thank you so much, Rogers, and our teacher, Angela.
You can turn on your video and we see you if you are in a good state.
I'm not in a proper state, I'm sorry.
Okay, it's fine. You can proceed.
My question is about PowerPoint slides. How do you make PowerPoint slides to be bigger? The way I've seen for our facilitators, they are big enough, the letters are big, the slides are very big, but for me, when I try to do mine, they are limited. I use the land slide, but it is limited indeed. So how do you make our PowerPoint slides to be big enough to write bigger words? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so our dear teachers, I think you're hearing those questions. I'm not saying that you'll answer all, you just answer what you can, and then also the admins maybe will come in and we shall be answering the rest of the questions at the end. This time I want to first get the questions, not the answers. Let us hear from Jane. Jane?
Thank you so much, Mr. Mkalere. Thank you so much, team. It's really been so wonderful. Now, I just have one thing which has really been on my mind. The problem of nights, I've really and having challenges studying online, but now I'm myself getting great. When it comes to the side of the learners whom we are having, how best can you induct them, given the fact that some of them do not have any background in as far as computing is concerned? How best can they can learn how to the classroom and be able to get on board? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jane. So you're saying that, okay, we have looked at capacity development for teachers. As a school, you may train your teachers, but what about the learners? Where is the guarantee that they will join the Zoom session and submit assignments on Google Classroom, which they don't know? That is the question that Jane has. So members, please take note of that. Let us see another question from Mr. Matu Sparkling. You used sparkling because I know Matuga. You go ahead. Yeah, you have been a very active participant in this training.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for your initiative actually to bring our schools online. Actually, I've been yearning to register my website on at least someone to find my school on Google. But my question is, as I was creating the Google classes, I found out that each class will have a different code. That's how it is supposed to be, or I made a mistake? Then secondly, I failed to get the link in order to submit in my exercise. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Your question has been captured and it will be responded to. Let us get to hear from Mr. Juanita Daniel as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Rogers. I also like to thank you for the commitment you guys have put in for the whole week. We have learned a lot.
I will turn on your video.
Yes, yes. Let me try. Fine. I think there I am. I was just thanking you for the program, and I just wanted to know, especially when you want to publish your website, so that it is a paid account. I request you to, is there any recommended web hosting like we have in Uganda? Those ones which are affordable. Because I would wish to have my school having the real domain name, not just the one of sites.google. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I've noted the question, shall answer that as well. Okay, those are the hands now. Finally, let us hear from Lawrence.
Thank you very much. I'd like to appreciate your effort in all whatever you've been doing throughout this week. So my inquiry is, in case everything will go well on your side concerning now this e-learning with your children at school, what is still fitting my understanding is, how are we going to create our timetable so that we send the children outside? Are we going to use PowerPoint, or we are going to use also another thing different? So that's what is still fitting my understanding. I hope you will help me from that side. Thank you for your
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those questions. Yeah. So at this time, I would like to now is the time for the teachers who are going to be sharing with us some tips on how they are conducting lessons. They can share some tips or experiences on key things that teachers need to take note of as they plan and as they prepare. Yeah, how do you do it? I'm going to be requesting some teachers here to be able to give us share some experience. Just introduce yourself and where you teach and what you have been doing, and share some tips. Then finally, we shall be closing with these questions, some of these questions. If teachers have answered some of the questions, well and good. If there are some questions which remain unanswered, the admins, we shall come in and then we wind up, and the facilitators, and we shall be closing the session at exactly within the next 30 minutes. We shall be closing the session. So let us hear from teachers. Teacher Robina, are you set?
Hello, yes, I am.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Teacher Robina. I'm also known as Teacher Robina. That's my class name. So I'm very happy to be a part of this. It has been really enlightening and enriching. First of all, I had issues with class control. And you know, when you're in a face-to-face class, you already think the children and you can easily tell them to keep that. Now, this was a new experience. I'm on Zoom, children at the other side making noise, and I know what to do. But luckily enough, by now at least I'm using and that's how I've been able to keep my class quiet and at the same time interactive. So that's very important to master the Zoom controls. Secondly, I had an issue of power shortage. My laptop didn't have a battery, so whenever sound would go off, I would practically be off. So I made it a point and I got a battery. So now I have a battery. And the other thing that I'm also doing right now is I log onto two gadgets. I log onto my phone and the laptop. So if any goes off, I have a backup point. And the other thing also was feedback. You know, when in the classroom, you always have that immediate feedback. So And yet on Zoom, the people are the other learners are the other side. So you have to give time for the responses. Now, for me, whenever they don't respond, I would think maybe they don't know the answer or they not had, and I will be only to get the response after. So it's a timing between when you ask something or when you're teaching and when you get the feedback. So you need to know that pace. At first, it's very fast, but now I learned, wait for the response and class going. And the other thing, if you have to go, if you're recording, I don't have your administrator, because at that time you cannot pick who you want to respond. So you need to have someone who is well conversant with the controls, help you control the class at that level. Most of the points have been talked about by Ms. Angela, and those are the few I wanted to talk about. But I'm very happy. And before I joined this one, I was someone who didn't love gadgets. Even WhatsApp, I got onto WhatsApp that very week that I started teaching. So this has been a very rich experience, and I can tell you that I'm now in love with my gadgets. I can solve any of the problems I have on my gadgets. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Teacher Robina, for highlighting the issues of the Zoom controls. Teachers really need to master the Zoom controls, and this takes practice. The battery, in terms of power, the laptop, if you're using a desktop, should have it. And then also logging on to, and actually also do that. I log onto the phone into the Zoom, like even you may find that right now I'm there in this Zoom session twice. I'm there as Mukalele twice. So I have the phone. So I could have a different network connected to the maybe MTN and then this one. So two of them can't go off at the same time, and I can be managing, controlling learners in one area and so another. So yeah, that is what Teacher Robin has been talking about. I've just decided to recap because I was hearing some breakages here and there, but the message has been captured. Okay, let us hear from another teacher, please. Teacher. I don't know which other teacher is ready at this time to share with us. Teacher Joel, Teacher Didas, Teacher Larry. You can unmute and you share with us. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Teacher Larry.
Okay, I will not be able to share my video, but I would like to communicate certain things. I'll begin with senior one. Senior one.
Maybe before Teacher Larry, before you continue, other teachers, if you are logged in with a computer and there's something you want to show a tip, there's someone who was asking about PowerPoint. That how do you make the letters big? Teacher did as if you are logged in or any other teacher. Yeah, you could even share your screen and then you show something small. Yeah, so, but Teacher Larry, you proceed.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Mkalele. One of the teachers who was in the first pilot study, and we were able to learn a lot. We also went through the same training. And for the beginning, it seems tough and impossible. There will be pressure from your bosses, pressure from parents. But the most important thing is as long as you're willing to learn. Now, I know that if the teachers who are here who are going to handle their students directly, it will be easy for you. Because for us, we're handling students you've never seen. It's a bit tricky. So I noticed that when you're handling your own students, because once in a while I would have a Zoom meeting with my own students of St. Henry's, and it would be easy to deal with them because they know you and you know them. So I want to go back to some of the issues you'll be having, maybe because the students do not know you. Some students log in very late and they will expect you to come and ask. They will come and ask you to recap what you've taught already. Sometimes you find that some of those things are impossible. So students will always be students. Others will come late, others will join in different classes, but you as a teacher, you'll always know how to balance. My concern is the discipline. on the chat room. You need to monitor. Now, the chat room is very important in 2 ways or 3. You'll find that they can ask questions and present their ideas. So I ask a teacher who is going to teach to coordinate between the live stream and the chat session. You can also find that in those chat sessions, they may go offside. But most of the students who are not able to contribute verbally, those introverts, the students who are always to themselves, they don't like sharing, but they have ideas. Encourage them so much to use the chat session, but also monitor the chat session, because that's where you find students misbehaving, especially if you're in a mixed school or if you've mixed students. Most teachers are now telling students from any institution to join. So you need to really monitor your chat room. And then preparation. Sometimes for the beginning, we were preparing more work than needed. You find that you have a lot of work, and by the time you're supposed to end your lesson, you are maybe 3/4 to the end of your work. So that's why we decided to say that the solution to that is you can sometimes prepare slides that are in audio, so that in case you don't complete, they can still attach these slides to your Google Classroom, and they will be able to learn and study even when you're not there. So those are some of the small things that I can contribute for now. However, the learning is based almost on the teacher's ability and the willingness to learn new things. As long as you're open to it, make sure you are available early enough. You know, if you log in like 2 minutes to the beginning of the lesson, usually you're in panic. So for the beginning, I would encourage teachers to log in 5 minutes early to verify if you can share your screen, or if you can organize a session before the actual teaching. Organize a session with your colleague. I used to do it with Mr. To or Mr. Kakuru. You organize a session maybe an hour before or a day before. Make sure you are familiar with all those features. So that is what I can say. I know my colleagues also have a lot to say, but the experience is overwhelming. It's a nice one. You can be able to learn so much if you have the positive attitude towards learning. Heather, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much, Teacher Larry, for that submission. Teacher Joel.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Rogers and the team. I take this initiative to greet you in Jesus' name. My name is Teacher Joel. Right now, I'm stationed here in Jinja, but I always do my teaching from Kampala. And I want to tell you that I'm so grateful for Edify Uganda, because first and foremost, I'm one of the teachers who attended the first training, which was there for teachers. Then God blessed me. I joined the Edify classes. So I'm one of those teachers that are conducting the program. I'm in charge of primary 1, 2, and 3. I handle English and literacy too. And the experience that I need to share with you, first of all, let me add a few submissions on what Teacher Robina had informed in this session about Zoom controls. Indeed, it is challenging if you are attending or conducting your lesson for the first time. The first 2 days, it will be a little bit challenging, simply because the children we are teaching, some of them lack the skills, just like one of the students here asked, one of the teachers asked. For us as teachers, we have acquired the skills on how to manage Zoom, but how about the learners? How are we going to engage them? Because this is technology of which they have to learn some basics on how to control and learn at the same time. So as teachers, of course, we start with muting all the learners. We don't allow them to have access to speak. So that is one that we have to even inform the parents or the learners that in case you want to talk to me, you will have to raise your hand up. Then I will ask you to unmute. So this one at times for a child may not know how to deal with that. So if you are to start a Zoom session at your school or Zoom lessons, you need to first brief the parents. Let there be someone to help the child when learning. Otherwise, some parents keep complaining that my child is not given the opportunity to contribute. It is, I don't know whether teachers are not just selecting my child, but it is because the controls need someone to help that child. Secondly, still about Zoom, time may not be enough. But what do we have to do? You need to have another platform on how you can share your work with the learners. After teaching, or in case time has caught up, you share the work, for example, in Google Classroom. You can let them find the work there and do at their own pace. Because here at Zoom, we may have only 1 hour, which may not be enough for them to copy everything. I want to talk about the teacher who asked about timetable. You can design your timetable using any format. You can use Word, Microsoft Word, then you save it in a PDF, or you can even use PowerPoint. Just simply design it on your computer and then find ways of sharing with the learners, either by WhatsApp or any means you may think of. So it is very easy. There is no skill that needs one to be with to design a timetable. Just design it the way you feel like, basing on the skills you have when using a computer. Then I'm not having a computer here right now to share a screen. I will request either teacher did us to show the teacher who asked about the PowerPoint. That one, we use a slideshow to make it appear full screen. So another teacher, I think, will handle this. Thank you so much. That is what I had for you for the interest of time.
Okay, thank you very much, Teacher Joel. Teacher Didas?
Oh, Mr. Rogers, good morning, everybody. I thank you for the opportunity given to me to talk to the teachers who have been training for almost 1 week. And it seems we are almost coming to the end of it. Mr. Rogers, I logged in also using a phone, but I thought I could do this. I don't think, is it working?
We are seeing something. Let me spotlight it. You can speak, we shall see, get an impression.
Okay. Generally, there is a teacher who was so much touched on how to make things go on. Okay. Is it okay, or should I share the camera?
We can see the slide. Right.
You can see the slide. Okay, thank you. To the teacher who was worried, I think was worried about making the fonts bigger, not making them big. So one of the challenges that teachers find hard is failure to give their work time. We don't give our presentations time. We have the lesson notes in Microsoft Word. So most of the times we like to copy and paste, which makes the work not good. So we have to give our time, we have to give our work time. As you can see my screen, you have to first open the PowerPoint, the PowerPoint presentation. I've used this version, of which I know that many are familiar with. When you check here, there is the designs. I know most of the already they had been taken through over it. I think I don't add a lot about it. So the designs are very many. You can just check which one you feel you are comfortable with. Maybe especially let me pick this one. So when you pick this one, you have to first check the font. I know they have been taught about the fonts, and we are mainly targeting how do I make my presentation have bigger fonts and a little bit clearer. So when you check on you have to first also look at the font you are going to use. I know we have been guided through mainly using the Century Ghost. There is Comic Sans, and even there is also ABC Print. So those fonts are so good when you are dealing with learners together. Okay. So when you look at this one, it has gotten very many fonts, and we have gotten very many different versions. Okay. When you look at this one here, it is saying click here to add a title. So for that case, you will have to add any word you feel like you should add. Let me say, I like the name. Let me put the name Rogers. Have I written it well?
Yeah, I've used the D. I don't normally use a D in my name, but many other people use a D. It's fine. You can proceed.
Okay. So when you put in this one, out of all of us, we can see that it is not big enough. So there is always an option, and I always use it. When you highlight the text and you go up on the word insert, as you can see there, that word art, the word art gives you an option of very many letters that you can use. When you look at this one, you can choose any color, you can choose any size, you can choose any style you would like to use. To give an example, I will say this one. And when you put it here, automatically this one comes. Let me try to remove it. So I have my name Rogers. You can easily see that what I have right now is a little bit bigger than the other one. So members, make your presentation look big. You have to give it time and select for the best. So as you can see, you can go ahead and change. Let's say I want it to be heading. Let me put it in red. It will change it to red. You can still make it bigger as you want. Highlight it. Highlight it. You can change a font size the bigger be. So the heading can go on and align it. It's so good with us in the lower that you can make these big letters for the learners in lower class to really administer. I think that answered the question for big man asked.
Yes.
I would like to hear from teacher Mr.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Teacher Didas. Teacher Didas, maybe you can first turn off your video now, and then if you have any concluding remark, Yeah, the issue of the font, actually, that's what the teacher was having problems with. The issue of the fonts. For him, maybe uses those templates of whatever, uses those templates of what? Of PowerPoint and what, and then the words are small and is unable to adjust. Yeah, so I think there you have tried to answer him, but we are going to.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any concluding remark on that? I'm going to give a chance to one or two admins also, then we wind up.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Rogers. I think that one I've answered. Someone was asked in the chat and was asking a question. Which type of PowerPoint or program do you have? Mine does not have those things you have displayed. So we have gotten very many. For this one I've used it is Office 10. There is WPS, there is Office 2003, 2016, and others now have Visit 18. So there are different versions, but the concept does not change. Then also, Mr. Rogers, let me talk about teachers. When we are making our content, let us avoid making errors, because we are teaching the world. We are teaching people from different districts. We are not only teaching the learners, but we are also teaching the parents at home who have masters, who have what. So when we are making our content, I request that we try to neglect the use of errors. Then lastly, I can talk about creating the content which is eye-catching. It is our time to showcase to these learners that what we have not been able to do in class, we can do it now. To give an example, in class, we have been finding a difficulty in showing learners that there is a volcanic eruption taking place, and you show them the volcanic mountains and the volcanoes. But here, when we are dealing with online learning, it is easy to put those pictures for the learners to see them. So let's create the content which is appetizing, which is good for the learners, so that they are not bored in our lessons. Thank you very much, Mr. Rogers.
Okay, thank you very much. So finally, let us hear from one admin, Mr. Otto Charles. You see, when in e-learning, you don't only have teachers on call, there should be another person who is backup to ensure that in case the teacher jumps off, this person is there. The admins do some work to support the e-learning. So I wanted to give one example, one admin a chance to Mr. Otto Charles, are you there?
Yes, please, Rogers. Good morning, everyone.
Hey, you can share with us. I don't know if you can turn on your video. You can share with us something briefly about your work as an admin in e-learning.
Yes, I can just. It's just my video that I'm going to share. I'm at school right now. My name is Mr. Charles Otto. The admin for Senior 1 and 2 in the Edify e-learning program. Yeah, being an e-learning administrator is very important if you are going to launch any online activities. The roles that I've been doing is, one, you have to come on board, you start the meeting, because teachers will always come, teachers can come, but it's you, the admin, to have power to start on the meeting. And also when the meeting is going on, the teachers they have entered, you have to do live streaming, like on YouTube or on Facebook, whatsoever platform that your school desires, because you need those content. Soon learners will join after, and it is those recording that will help the learners. Some learners will have, okay, I missed the lesson because of network, because of this and that. So those recordings are very important. You just share with them the links, said, okay, you go here, you can watch this video that we have recorded. Also taking the attendance is very important, that you need to know the number of students who are attending your lessons. Now, in a typical school setup, it's good for accountability. a parent can come. I remember one of the incident one time I'm going to share here. It's very important for food for thoughts. My school, we were having e-learning session. As usual, a student just pop in and abuse the teacher. Seriously, send in something on the chat section. So at that time, we started tracking the student that abused the teacher. We had to go on to we had to check the student Gmail account that the student used. And to make the matter worse, we started tracing the student refused. No, I did not, this is not, I'm not the one. I'm not the one. So it was a senior 3 student went to a senior 1 class and did that. So it became a matter of controversy because the parent also came in, no, this is not true. My daughter cannot do this. Maybe we started tracing the IP address and so forth. Now, if it were to happen, the e-learning administrator behind would have known what actually was taking place in the class. But luckily, I had generated the attendance. Generating the attendance is another thing. That's why you need it physically. When the lesson is going on, you need to know you can use other mechanism. Like in Google Meet, you can extract attendance and the time that the learner entered. So this is very, very important. You need to keep track of that. Then maybe also the chat section. This is another key issues. You know, these learners are young. They can post anything on the chat section, emojis, what, they can post some provoking things. So it's you that mean to turn the chat section that learners to talk to the teacher. You ask questions to a particular teacher, but not just the chat section is open. You can even see on WhatsApp, matches the admins are there, the parents are there. A learner can come and post anything, see? So you need to control that section when the lesson is going on. A teacher cannot do all the above. It's the admin to be there to check that what is taking place on the chat section is in line with that particular lesson or the topic that the teacher is talking about. Also now, to wind it up, with all the recording, everything, you need to check the Google Classroom because if you want to launch any e-learning platform, Rogers, I started e-learning way back during the first lockdown. Now we have 3 sections here. 1 is the admin section. 2 is the learning management system. Where will the student go after? Because this live lesson, you see that not all students will have the opportunity to come in for the lesson. But do you have any other place where you refer them? Do you have any other place where they submit? Of course, they cannot submit their lesson on Zoom, their assignment on Zoom. That one cannot take place. So you need a system. You set up another place like Google Classroom to handle that particular site. And you'll be amazed that many students will register for the learning management system like Google Meet, Google Classroom, than even the Zoom itself, because some of them may not have that time and also the data to come and attend the Zoom lesson. So you need to balance between, like a private tutor, I've started that teaching maths online. I got some tools for teaching that I will share with teachers here. First, I bought a graphics tablet, a digital tablet where you need to write on it so that your handwriting can be reflected on the computer screen. Without that, you will struggle to teach maths. It's expensive, but it's a tool that works if you are to teach online, not even only maths. Because you can, like I can get question paper for English in Word, I project it on the screen, I start revising with the learners. I ask them questions as I write the answer right away there. It helped me a lot. Graphics tablet is a must tool for any serious teacher who would like to do the lesson online. It cannot be only for maths, it cannot be not only for physics or chemistry, but it is a tool that is good. You need to try and find out how much it costs, and also you buy yourself one. Then you go to Google Classroom, you set up your classes where learners can come, submit their assignment, you mark, and then you return. Now the last one is the assessment, like somebody said. Sincerely, it's very hard, Rogers. If you are to get like 400 students, you give them assessment, and you tell them that to take the photograph and then submit it back. It may be hard. Now, what tool are you going to use? Because parents in Uganda, most of them, they want to see results. If you cannot give them results, then that means you are not serious. You need to tell them, okay, this child did this and got this. How are you going to do that? At least Google Form makes it very easy. It reduces a lot of fight between parents and teachers and then students, because you can auto set your system where the marks can be sent to students after even when they are done with their exams. You manually review and then you send them their marks back. That's what I've been doing, Roger. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I encourage teachers that please, let's not sit on our talent. Let's go and also earn some little money in addition to what our school pays us. Online classes is the way to go. And I really promise you, you will come back and thank all of us for making you to go that particular way. May God bless all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Charles, for that empowering. So members, we have the resource with us. Don't be there and say things that can't work. We have teachers who are doing these things. So now I'm glad that we have been joined by Mr. Benedict Sazi, the chairman, the president of the Christian School Owners Association. I want to give him a minute to give us a word, and then I will be wrapping up the session. Mr. Benedict, are you ready to speak to the teachers at this time? Okay, maybe Mr. Benedict. Okay, maybe before he comes in, let me first share this.
Oh, I'm already.
Yes, are you ready to speak now?
Yes, please.
Okay, we are glad to hear from you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mukale Rogers, and all the team from Itao. Good morning, everyone.
Mr. Saz, are you able to put on your video so that we can see you? Oh.
So, good morning, everyone. Benedict Saz, the president of the Christian School Owners Association. I'm glad that we are having another team of teachers to be trained how to teach online. And I'm very grateful for Itao for supporting us. At the same time, I'm also grateful for Edify, which has sponsored this training, and all of you teachers who have sacrificed your little resources.
Mr. Saz.
Hello.
I think the phone is very close to you, so we are just seeing part of you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, now you can see you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, great. Now we are very grateful to Itao for taking us through this training, and we are also grateful for Edify, which is sponsoring this training. So, dear participants, I'm Benedict Saz, the president of the Christian School Owners Association, and I'm glad to see that a number of you so much. I encourage all teachers to sacrifice more resources and buy MBs to see that you attend all these lessons until the course is ended. Some teachers miss along the way, and they miss the certificate. You must know that this training is adding value on you. You are going to mean the same. So, and because of this lockdown, they want to go to teach something online. So I encourage all of you to participate fully and to attend all these trainings. Allow me to wish you all the best. May God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So members, Mr. Saz Benedict there is the president of the Christian School Owners Association. And earlier on, I was talking to him, and they are having actually some function. There is they're in the field. That's why you saw he has just got 1 minute off to come and talk to us. But it is yeah, I'm the one who actually invited him to make sure that he comes in. But we shall be able to get more from him. So in case you want to get to know from the know more about the Christian School Owners Association, you can visit the website of the Christian School Owners Association, and then you can be able to know and get in touch with them. Now, finally, members, there are some questions that have been posted in the chat. Some questions that have been posted in the chat by different teachers. I just want to summarize them so that teachers don't say that we never answer their questions. Otherwise, our time is up. And one of them, Enoch asked, how do we create bigger slides? That was Enoch. I think this one was being answered. Now you increase the slides by increasing the font size, but you can also use something known as a slide master to set the fonts at once. If you're using PowerPoint, you click on what we call slide master, So this one can enable you to make the words bigger at once for all. But like Mr. Dida said, please take your time. You spend time. You take time and create good work. So you can increase the font size. You can make the colors. So this training, we just introduced you to the basics, but you learn more by doing, by more practice. And also one thing that I want to encourage you is we are having a number of lessons that different teachers have been creating. And the teachers who have been talking to you, Teacher Didas, Teacher Robina, and Teacher Joel. So you can go on the Christian school, you look at some of how they are creating their slides, and then you can be inspired to try to do that. So you will only learn not through a one-week workshop, but through a long time practice. So you start now. You may not start perfectly, but start with something. Yeah, start with something and you keep improving as you get feedback. Johnny, so how do you, Johnny Soboga asked, how can one embed audios and videos in the PowerPoint slides? Yeah, you can add PowerPoint slides videos using the tools. When you create a new slide, there's a part for video here. So there's video, chart, table, pictures. You can insert these things here. So you just click there and then you select, for example, if I say I'm adding this one. So it will be embedded within your PowerPoint. And so when you go to class, you just click on the play button and then it will start playing when you are in your slideshow. So you can easily add the slides. Then how long does a newly created website on Google site become ready for the public view? Yeah, so we looked at Google Sites and we said it is one tool that you can use to do it yourself, to do a simple website that can help you. And we have been looking at a number of teachers who have been doing some good work. Yeah, so the moment you publish, the moment you say publish, it becomes live and you get that link which you people are submitting on Google Classroom. So it immediately becomes live. It doesn't have to take any time. So you just start and then you go on. But I want to tell members that this Google Sites, we showed it because it was a free tool, part of Google, and we saw you can do it yourself and you do something. And also we talked about the issue that you can also get for it a domain name and attach it and have it up. But that is just to start. With time, as your school becomes and your e-learning program becomes successful, you can be able to get money and do a bigger, fully fledged website. We have a number of web developers around who can be able to support you. They charge according to their work because they are going to work. If a web developer asks you for 2 million, it's because he knows he's going to give you quality work worth 2 million because he's going to put in his time, create the graphics, create the videos. Creating content is not easy. So they charge you for their labor. Yeah, so in case a web developer comes to your school and is asking for 2 million to make for your website, don't say it's cheating you because it's going to use his time. Otherwise, you should do it yourself if you don't want to pay the developer. So what we showed you here in the Google Sites is that you can do it yourself and you can learn and you can do a simple website. You can be able to get for each domain name and connect it. Those things are somehow technical. So for us here, we have been having a basic training for non-ICT teachers who are not very technical. So we showed you the simple tools and you should be able to use. There is also, I want to share with you this, there is an offer and an arrangement by Edify. And Edify actually offered to support schools to get online. And we have a server which was purchased. And we are supporting schools. So there is a team of web developers. They are supporting schools to start to create websites running WordPress. This site of Christian School Owners session is running on WordPress, not on Google site. And I'm going to share this link, and there is a letter here. So for this particular program, you only part with 300,000, and then the developers will develop for you the site. But that 300,000 is going to be for hosting and the domain name. Yeah. So the domain name, hosting, and then data. These people have to be able to work before. By the time they work on a very good website for you, they will have put in time. Yeah. So, but this is just an offer because it is subsidized. But normally the website cost is normally higher than that. So depending on what you have used. So you can use Google site, you create a free site yourself. If you can do it yourself, well and good. At a time when you want to upgrade it to something bigger, you can always make that decision. But what we have trained you in this training is something to get you started, and it can still help you to serve the purpose of a website. Okay, so I hope I've answered that. Other things we shall be able to share more. I request, how do I add a co-teacher? I request you remind me how I add a co-teacher. I'm also failed to upload learning materials on Google Classroom. That was the other question. So we looked at Google Classroom and we said, someone actually said that also, does Google Classroom, each class have its own code? It is true. Whenever you create a class, you will have a different class code for that particular class, a different class code. So here under the Edify e-learning program, we have several Google Classrooms and each class has its own code. How do you add a co-teacher? If you are the owner of the Google Classroom, you go to the People tab and then you click on the plus. So it will show you the teachers who are in there, and then you click at the plus up here and then you add their emails and then you invite them. So they become co-teachers in that particular class. Okay, then finally, Caesar was asking, which version of PowerPoint do you install? Because the one I installed seems not to contain all the display. So there are very many apps for creating slides. In this particular training, we looked at WPS Office for mobile. There is slides, there is Google Slides, there is PowerPoint. For me here, I'm using PowerPoint. I'm using PowerPoint 2016. There's PowerPoint 2007, which teacher did us showed. So different interface, but the features are similar. You can still create the slides. You can put the animations. You can be able to do whatever you need to do. You just have to all the things are there. The slides, animations, transitions, they are there. So take time and study the program that you are having, or you can upgrade. Someone talked about the big slides. This one was talked about learners and parents training. How do you ensure that the learners will be able to enroll have capacity? So one of the things that you can do is to organize general assemblies. If you look at this here, we had a general assembly, Edify classes general assembly. In these general assemblies, you can be taking off time to teach the parents how to use Google Classroom, how to use. You also create some small tutorials. We have looked at in this training how to create videos using your phone, using something like Vidima, screen recorder. You record a video showing the parents how to log into, how to join a class, how to join Zoom. Slowly by slowly, capacity of the parent. It is your role, if you're a school which wants to start e-learning, it is your role to ensure that your parents also are trained on what their responsibility is. The parent is the supervisor at home when the learners are doing exams, when the learners are doing classes. So you make sure that the capacity of your parents is also gradually improved. Okay, so I've talked about Google classes, each having a defined class code, publishing a website to be paid up. Yeah, I've told you that we have free sites tools like Google Blogs, even there's WordPress.com free. We have these Google sites, but if you are to pay up, then you need to get a technical person who knows more about issues of domains and all those things, which you may not be able to learn. Now, I wanted to try to teach you, but I saw it was going to be a bit hard on you. But you can learn. It is not very hard. It is the content is there on YouTube. You take time. If you have an ICT teacher, you can challenge him to learn, to try more, and then you do, because it's very good if you are in charge of your website. Otherwise, you may get some developer, again, when he's too busy, you want to upload work and it's not there. So it's not as good if you can be in charge of your website. That is the most important thing. But you can be able to hire services of a web developer to do for you more and make sure that you have a big presence.
Yes, Rogers.
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 Yes.
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 Can I also just 1 minute? Sorry, I talk about that. Okay, later this year, I showed that the need for having a website is something that is very important for a teacher. So I had to start doing research about web development. By the way, your site shareability inspired me a lot. It's one of the sites that I still look up to now. It is a website that is so good that even I can recommend to a fellow teacher. Whenever I need the resources, I always run to shareability. So I created a website, but just mere creating a website is not enough. You need to think of what is this website? What will it be used for? Now, you see the shareability at this purpose of sharing, loading their past papers, and then so forth. You may need a website for different purposes because we have different types of websites. Now, mine, I wanted it for like a learning management system where learners will go there. I'll make for them courses, just small lessons. They do quizzes and then so forth. So I had to do research on concerning what is website all about. I went and bought a domain name from Namecheap. I was very happy when I saw it yesterday. You were sharing about Namecheap. A domain name is very cheap, but you pay annually. I had to start doing research on web hosting. Which company will host for me my website? The learning management system is heavy, like Google Classroom. You may need a lot of web space for hosting your content. Students are loading their things, they are submitting their work. That's why Google Classroom is good. But also the WordPress one it's okay. So I had to start the learning management system, and it is even there. I'm going to share the link so that learners, teachers can go and see. But it's not that easy, like he has said. If there is an offer for 300,000, just go for it if you really want to launch a website, because mine costed me like 1.2 million. I had to pay 1.2, hosting, buying that learning management system from the Tutor LMS. You can also get WordPress. You can get free ones anyway. So I had to spend a lot of money because of that. So I'm so grateful, teachers. Just go, and if you have your 300, just do it. It will pay a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Teacher Charles, for talking about shareability. Shareability is actually a website which I built with my team, and it has materials. That's one of the things actually you need to learn how to get content that can help you in your e-learning. You need, actually someone talked about a timetable. This is another question. Someone was asking, how do you create a timetable? You can use Word. Here I'm using Microsoft Word. I draw a table and I put in. We have not taught Word because of problems. So, but I was saying that on Shareability, we have materials, we have subjects. If you want most of Swahili, you just come and click on Swahili and you get papers from schools across the country, notes and other things. But it's not only Shareability alone, there are many other resourceful websites on the internet, which you can be able to including websites of NCDC and all the other agencies. So members, our time is up. This time I would like us to have a closing prayer. We are going to be meeting at 4, and at 4 I will be requesting us to so at 4 I will be requesting us to come. We are going to be having staff from Edify Uganda. They are going to be coming to share with us. And also, we would like to hear from you. How has this training been of help to you? How has this training been, what have you managed to do? What is your next plan? So we want to hear from you. This session has been more about the teachers from Edify class program and other teachers to share experiences. Now, in the 4 p.m. session is going to be you, the participants, to share with us on your journey so far and what you have managed to get from this training, to give feedback. We shall be evaluating that together at 4 p.m. So I would like to encourage you that please you come back at 4 and we have the closing ceremony. Now, certificates, like we said, are only going to be given to people who have done all the assignments. So if you have not finished all the assignments, just know that you don't have a certificate. But the certificates, we are giving you an entire week additional to finish the assignment. So you don't have an excuse. In case you missed any session, all the recordings are there. You go back and watch the video. It is there on YouTube. We are going to send you the link. Do the assignment, do the Colibri, do the video, do the PowerPoint, do the Google Classroom, do all the things, do the Google Docs, all the things that we have taught, all the assignments that have been given, do them. And we are going to continue marking till Thursday next week. Then on Friday, your certificates will be ready. Those will have finished. So that is what I wanted to tell the members, that please, we have given you an extra week to complete your assignment, so you don't have an excuse to say that you missed. Is it network? Is it what? Is it what? No, you have a whole week to sort all these assignments which were posted in the Google Classroom. They are there for you. So, for 4, we are closing. Then we shall wait our certificates on Friday next week. Okay, I think that is all. Let us get someone to give us a closing prayer, and we shall be through with this session. Let us get someone to give us a closing prayer.
Nangoma wanted to pray. Jisiru Nangoma.
Yes, thank you. Chair, let's have ourselves for prayer. I thank you for the gift of this time. And you
Amen. Thank you very much, members, and see you at 4 p.m. members.